All right, I think I should be back on. Let me know if you're in the chat room, if you can see me again. All right, we're back now. Okay. Um, that was funny. I feel like maybe I was getting censored by Big Brother there about to spill industry secrets. But somebody, I was kind of a gaming insider. I have no reason to believe that they were making this up, but they were saying that Cool Mini or Not might have used the money from their very first Kickstarter to fund something else in their company, either pay down some debt or do something else. And then what happened was they ended up not necessarily having enough money to fund actual delivery of the first Kickstarter. So they started to do another Kickstarter to use that money to finish off fulfillment of the first Kickstarter, and it just created a snowball effect where almost once they stopped doing this endless Kickstarter romp, they might find themselves in trouble. Like I said, that was just something I heard from somebody who's an insider in the industry. I don't know if that's true or not, but I don't have any reason to believe that he would be making that up. And I wouldn't even go as far as to say that what they're doing is, technically wrong or anything. I mean, as long as they're getting their Kickstarters actually out to people, that they are fulfilling them. But if that's true, they're just playing a dangerous game. One of the sad things to me, especially when these established companies use Kickstarter, essentially is just a pre-order system. I think it really hurts local game stores because more and more these companies are essentially offering the first edition of their games only to people who went through the Kickstarter, which is a lot of the hardcore members of the community. So then by the time they end up getting out there in retail versions, a lot of the people who would have bought them from the retail stores already purchased them through the Kickstarter. All right, getting close on these boots. At least for this iteration, until we get the dust on them from the weathering powders. It's one of the reasons why I'm okay that they're, well, first of all, they're supposed to be black boots, so they should be a little darker, but I'm okay if some of the areas got a little darker than I was intending. So I want to leave space for the weathering powder to show up. I'm just going to hit the laces with a little bit of a lighter gray to help distinguish them. Yeah, GW has not always been a friend to the local gaming stores. I've been around long enough to have heard a lot of the stories about how they used to be a little antagonistic towards a lot of the independent retailers, tried to kind of take over independent retail themselves, and that backfired a little bit on them. I don't know how good they are nowadays, but there were some, the early 2000s, I know there was a bit of a feeling among some independent retailers that GW was kind of waging war on them. I don't frequent too many game stores nowadays or get the opinion there of a wide range of gamers like that, but I feel like GW's reputation is finally starting to improve, that maybe they're finally starting to take their customers a little more seriously and not just take them for granted. Have a little bit better partnerships with the retailers. I don't know if that's true, but if it is true, I'm sure it's partially or maybe even mostly market demanded. I know Fantasy Flight's probably taken a big chunk of their market share with the X-Wing game. Privateer Press, nowhere near their size, but they've taken a chunk of the market. Yeah, the internet's the biggest killer now, that's for sure. It was even starting back when I first got in the hobby in the late 90s. That was when the War Store first showed up. So people would be purchasing whole armies online, taking them to the local game store and using their table space. Wow, GW has record profits. Well, again, it wouldn't surprise me. I think they've been making a lot of good moves recently. Wasn't always the case, but I think they're in a better direction now. All right, so let's take stock of where we're at on Alley here. So mostly, I just painted her boots today. Again, I wanted them to still read as black boots, but I also wanted them to have some depth and texture, and that can be tricky. But you saw how I built up some texture layers, went back over glazing with the black to kind of bring things together, knock down those extreme highlights. But those most extreme highlights still shine through really well to kind of be the places where the lights hit, but also some place where the wear is going to show a little bit, like on the edges of things. So I think those are pretty good for now. Like I said, later I'll put some weathering powder on them to dirty them up a bit, and we'll see how that works. But here she is. She's getting pretty close to being done. Other than her base, I would say one more session and we should be ready to slap her on the plinth and start working on her base. So thanks for everybody who stopped by. Thanks for painting. Troll hanging out the whole time and chatting with me. I really appreciate it. And maybe there were some lurkers in there who were just watching and not commenting, but I appreciate all of you. And I'll see you next week. I should see you next week. I'll make sure to let you know on Twitter as I get closer to time when my streaming times are going to be. If I'm able to stream the end of this week and into the weekend, then like I said, there should be a special guest with me. So that'll be really fun. But see you around Twitter. Make sure to stop by for future streams. Say hi on Twitter. I enjoy interacting with all of you out there. So until next time, thanks.